Have you ever wondered how a really great teacher gets students to go beyond just, reading the words on a page to actually understand the big, juicy ideas underneath? Well, today, we're going to peel back the curtain. We're going behind the scenes to deconstruct a masterclass in reading, and we're going to see the hidden architecture that builds real, deep understanding. Okay, so take a look at this. It's a pretty typical, kind of tough test question, right? It's asking for the main idea across two different readings. But the real question here isn't just about getting the right answer. It's, how does a student get here? How do they develop the thinking skills to look at this question and confidently pick the right answer without just taking a wild guess? Well, here's the secret. It's not a magic trick, and it's definitely not about cramming for a test the night before. It's all about a carefully designed, repeatable process. A process that teaches students how to think, not just what to think. So let's break that process down. So here's our game plan. We're going to start with the main challenge, what I'm calling the comprehension puzzle. Then we'll see how the teacher makes thinking visible, turns those thoughts into a real conversation, and then gives students a structure to pull it all together. And finally, we'll see why this whole process is a total game changer. All right, so here's the first big piece of the puzzle. The real goal of reading isn't just to follow along with the words. It's to synthesize, to get that big idea. But you can't get there unless you first learn how to check in with yourself while you're reading. And that brings us to this key idea, comprehension monitoring. You know that little voice in your head when you're reading something? The one that goes, wait, hold on, what did that word mean? Or, oh, I see how this connects to that other part. That's it. It's an active, internal chat you have with the text, and it is the absolute foundation for everything else we're about to see. So how in the world do you teach a process that happens inside someone's head, right? Well, you have to make it external. You have to make it something you can see. And that's exactly what this teacher does first. She makes the invisible act of thinking visible. So the students reread the text, but they're not just scanning the words this time. They're using these things called coding cards to leave tracks of their thinking right on the page, marking things that are new, confusing, or surprising. And this is so much more than busy work. They're literally making that little voice in their head visible for everyone, including themselves, to see. And I absolutely love this quote from the teacher. By saying this, she's telling them, hey, that messy paper full of notes, that's what real thinking looks like. Good job. She's making it completely normal and okay for reading to be an active, messy process. She's validating their hard work by showing them that's exactly what good readers do. Okay, so now all the students have these pages covered in their own private thoughts. What's next? Well, this is where it gets really cool because those individual messy notes are about to become the fuel for a big group discovery. The thinking is about to go public. The next step is a simple turn and talk with a partner. But it's not just random chatter. They use their notes and these little question cards to guide the conversation. Think of it like a practice round. A safe, low-stakes space for them to try out their ideas and start building meaning together. And then, during the bigger class discussion, the teacher drops this absolute gem of a question. Did you catch the shift there? She's not asking, what did you read? She's asking, why did the author choose these specific words? This question right here is the pivot point from just noticing things to actually inferring what they mean. You see what's happening, right? On one side, you have all the little things they noticed while reading. That's the comprehension monitoring. Those are the tools. But now, the teacher is using those tools to help them build the product, a real understanding of what the author was trying to say. Okay, a shared understanding is starting to bubble up in the classroom. So what's the next move? You gotta give that thinking a structure. So the teacher introduces a graphic organizer. But this isn't just some boring worksheet. It's a blueprint for how to construct a big idea from the ground up. And this is just brilliant. It shows the path she makes them walk. They can't just jump to the big idea at the top. Nope, she forces them to start with the concrete stuff, the evidence, the differences. Then they build their way up through similarities and keywords. Only after they've done all that work can they really truly synthesize the big idea. You have to earn it. Think about it. A plain old Venn diagram just lets you sort facts into buckets. It's fine, but it's static. This thing, this tiered organizer, is so much smarter. It's like a staircase for your brain. It actively scaffolds the process of thinking, guiding you step by step from evidence to inference. What a powerful, intentional choice.
So let's pull this all together. Why go through all these steps? Because, and this is the big takeaway, this whole lesson was never really about preparing for that one test question. It was about preparing their brains to tackle any complex question that comes their way. It was thinking prep. And just look at the results. Seriously, check out this list. These are the big ideas that the students came up with all on their own. And notice the range here. You've got some concrete ideas like medical breakthroughs, and then more abstract ones like don't give up on good ideas. All of that rich thinking was made possible because of the process they just went through.
Hey, remember this thing from the beginning? Now, when we see that the correct answer is A, well, it's not a surprise, is it? It's basically a polished-up version of the ideas the students had already figured out for themselves. They didn't just find the answer, they built the thinking that produced it.
And that right there is the heart of it all. The goal wasn't the answer. The goal was to build a repeatable cognitive process, a way of thinking that these students can now use on any text, for any question, for the rest of their lives. It's the classic teach a person to fish scenario, and it is so powerful.
So I'll leave you with this final thought. We saw this applied to a reading lesson, but this idea is huge, right? It's universal. What if every complex skill we wanted to learn wasn't taught by just showing us the finished product, but by obsessively deconstructing the process that creates it? Just think about that.